All right, it is the Sports Mashup number 55, March 16th, middle of March. Busy week in the world of sports, whether it's the NCAA tournament or the NFL free agency period or the NHL trade deadline or the MLB finally figuring it out. There's a lot going on. We'll start in the NBA, short on the NBA here. Kyrie Irving continues to dominate, can still only play in road games, despite the fact that he's sitting courtside without a mask on and going in the locker room. The Nets get fined at home. So he's sitting courtside at the game, and they get in trouble for it. But 60 points last night. They blow out the Magic. They had
He was also at the ACC tournament without a mask on as well.
Yeah, and I don't – and the only reason that we say without a mask is just because he's unvaccinated, so he's like the devil or something, right? Even though there's really no difference between the two overall at this point, but whatever.
And, I mean, just because we're on it, when we get to baseball, I mean, they said the same thing. Opposing teams coming into New York don't have to be vaccinated, but MLB, they have to be vaccinated to play there.
Yeah, Yankees and Mets players do. I have to think that with the weather changing, they're gonna change that because it's gonna be really hot, and there's gonna be hardly any spread of it in the summer, as it's been that way the last couple of years.
Yeah, but do they wait till after the NBA's over so then they can't say they did it for Kyrie?
I think they'll do it in the playoffs. I think if they're going to do it at all, I think it'd be in the playoffs. And if not, then maybe they do it in like late June, which would be a slap in the face to Kyrie, I guess. And the weird thing about this is Kyrie's clearly like politically aligned with all these people that are in favor of the mandate. So it's a bit weird, but no defense being played in the NBA right now.
And that was a Brooklyn record for most points.
Yeah, and the Magic just are horrible.
And then Karl-Anthony Towns, he dropped 60 as well with 17 boards and a shootout win over the Spurs. And he had, I think, 34 points in the third quarter?
Yeah, he had 50 after the third quarter, so.
No, I think he only scored 4 in the fourth.
Yeah, so he
had 24, I think, in the first half and then 34 in the second or the third quarter. So he's at 56 going into the fourth.
Yeah. Pretty dominant. All right, let's shift to the NFL. We knew that Amari Cooper would not be a part of the Cowboys, but they did end up getting a trade for him. They traded him to the Cleveland Browns for, I think it was a fifth or something, which people are like, how did they get Amari Cooper for a fifth? Well, number one, production has not been as good as it should be. Number two, his contract is absurd.
Was it for a fifth or was it a fifth and a sixth?
I think it was Amari Cooper and a sixth for a fifth and a sixth or something like that. I think there's picks going both ways, but who's going to be the quarterback throwing to him, I think, is the big question.
And then they released Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, and then they also, on the other side of this trade, the Cowboys extending Michael Gallup.
Which we knew once they were getting rid of Cooper, they were re-upping him.
Yeah, I think this is a smart move because you really don't want to have that much money invested in the receiving corps because you know CeeDee Lamb's going to get paid very soon. And the Gallup deal's somewhat reasonable. I think they have a fine 1-2 punch. I don't think the Ezekiel Elliott contract lasts that much longer there, but we'll see what happens. Let's move down to the Deshaun Watson thing.
Has anybody went anywhere yet with Tony Pollard? Has he gone anywhere?
I haven't seen anything about Pollard, no. I don't think the running back market's been very, inactive, I guess is the word. But I think that's kind of how it is usually with the running backs that make more money. Like there's smaller level running backs who have shorter and smaller deals that have gotten deals done, but haven't seen anything on Pollard. So Deshaun Watson cleared, ready to go. I think there's still a chance the NFL suspends him. If you look back to a similar situation, which was the Ben Roethlisberger situation way back in the day, I believe he got a 6-game suspension that was then down to a 4-game suspension. So I think there's a chance Deshaun Watson is suspended despite the fact that he's not facing any legal repercussions at this point.
Or do they do it where they said since he didn't play all last year, those were his suspension games, so those count to his suspension?
I think the NFL cares so much about their image that they will suspend him for a certain amount of games. I don't know how many, but I think that's probably what
that was just that could be a question where I wouldn't be surprised they did it where they're like, oh, well, you didn't play in 17 games or 16 games last year. We'll count your suspension towards that.
Yeah, we'll see. So he met with New Orleans, he met with Carolina, he met with Cleveland yesterday, meeting with Atlanta today. If I had to guess where he ends up, it certainly feels like Carolina wants him the most,
And
but I
then
think Cleveland makes sense.
Atlanta's weird because they just restructured Matt Ryan's contract. So I don't know why they would, unless they're going to trade Watson for Ryan.
Yeah, I don't know. I Matt Ryan, you know where I think it makes sense for them to trade Matt Ryan?
Well, I mean, you just
I think-
restructured his deal, so why
Right.
would you be in talks with Watson then, unless you're trading quarterback for quarterback?
Well, I don't. Here's what I think happens. Okay, I think the Texans are going to roll with Davis Mills or draft a guy. I think if Cleveland gets Watson, they trade Mayfield to Indianapolis. If Atlanta gets Watson, they trade Ryan to Indianapolis. That's my guess.
And well, whoever goes with Atlanta, they don't have much left.
No, because Ridley's going to be gone.
Ridley's out for the year.
Russell Gage is pretty good. I think he's still there.
No, he just signed a 3-year deal with
Did
the
he?
Bucks
All right.
yesterday. I think
Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is there.
That's all they got.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. I think you write it out with Matt Ryan and get a new quarterback in there and rebuild the team.
Yeah, I think you draft a guy unless they have someone on their depth chart now, but you draft a guy and sit him behind Matt Ryan for a year or two, whatever's left on Matt Ryan's deal.
Yeah, I think Cleveland or Carolina would be my guess. I don't see New Orleans, but I guess crazier things have happened.
What if famous Jameis just ends up in Indy?
That's possible, I guess. Sure feels like it's going to be, Baker Mayfield or Jimmy G or Jameis in Indianapolis.
I feel like the Colts could even get a steal. And who's the Chargers backup? Chase Daniels.
Yeah,
they could even get him. I mean, I'm saying they just get him for a cheap price. He's a game manager. He played for Andy Reid when he was drafted by the Chiefs. Then went and sat behind Drew Brees for years, and then has been out in L.A.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one.
He's not a name that's really thrown out there, but he's made the
tough
money.
Look, though. It's a tough look to move on from Wentz and then have that.
Yeah, they want a game manager. They've got one of the best running backs in the league, one of the best line in the league, especially if they get Armstead or somebody to be their new left tackle since Fisher left.
What if they do what they did with Phillip Rivers, which was Matt Ryan? I mean, I know the contract's not great, but I don't think their salary cap's that messed up right now. And also, they made the playoffs with Phillip Rivers. They didn't make it with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I was meaning if they could get Armstead at a good price, like a hefty price, and they could take Chase Daniels, knowing they're going to get him cheaper than they're going to get a big name quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
He came in and played. He's played good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they'll do, but that'll be 3 quarterbacks in 3 years or 4. I think 4 quarterbacks in 4 years for Frank Reich because they had Rivers 1 year and Wentz 1 year and
yeah. Before that
Brissett.
Yeah, Jacoby.
Yeah, so not a very good situation with the quarterbacks there. Aaron Rodgers deal essentially 3 years, $150 million. He was counting 28% against the cap. They fixed that. It's now 13%, essentially a 3-year deal. So I think he'll retire there.
So just a year and $50 million less than what they originally said it was going to be.
I think overall the terms are a little longer than this, but essentially if you look at all the numbers in it, it's pretty much a 3-year 150. But Devontae Adams says he won't play on the franchise tag. Sides are not close to an extension. I'm not that worried about this. I think that it'll eventually get figured out. They're trying to kind of re-sign other guys right now and figure out the cap situation. So we'll see where this goes. I mean, I feel a lot better about the Adams situation with Rodgers 100% being back because if they couldn't figure out a deal with Adams and Rodgers was not back, you have a real problem. But I have a feeling Adams will be back and playing. I don't see.
And even on the franchise, he's going to make
20.
What is it? He makes the average of the top 5 receivers.
It's 20 mil. And deals like Christian Kirk is screwing over Green Bay in this situation.
And I saw there was what was it? Trevon Diggs or not Trevon Diggs?
Stephon Diggs?
No, it was two.
Darius Slay and
Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey. Darius Slay said something like, maybe I should quit backpedaling and go on the other side of the field.
Yeah.
And Rand's like, yeah, these guys are making more than us. And Kirk's deal is he went from wide receiver 3 to getting paid wide receiver 1 money.
Well, the Jaguars are doing what bad teams do, which is just spending stupidly. Because half or 3/4 of those guys will be cut within 2 years.
The only thing that Jags are really looking forward is they get Etienne back.
And they don't have to deal with Urban Meyer anymore. I think that's good for them. And also, I think Darius Slay said Devontae's definitely going to want $30 million per year now, which, I mean, yeah, the DeAndre Hopkins deal was BS for the Packers, and so is Christian Kirk's deal. Because he's better than both of those guys. He should make more than those guys. I think they'll figure it out, but I don't know.
But Tom Brady's back in the NFL.
Yeah, I thought there was a chance this would happen. I don't love the fact that he's trying to steal the thunder of Selection Sunday. A little disappointed there from Tom. But this pretty much makes the NFC, depending on what happens with Watson, I guess, a 3-horse race, right? Green Bay, LA, Tampa, probably. I mean, I still think Dallas and like San Francisco and a couple other teams are like in the next tier. I think Green Bay, Tampa, LA are by themselves.
Yeah.
I think.
And I knew it was going to happen, like we talked about last week, Ryan Jensen, where he would go. Once Brady's said he's coming back, Jensen instantly re-signed.
Yeah, they do lose Marpet, though. He's not coming back.
No, they did. They re-signed.
Who didn't one of those guys leave, go to Cincinnati? Who is that? Kappa?
Yeah, but they re-signed one of their other Stinney.
They re-signed Carlton Davis too, right?
Mm-hmm. And they got rid of Whitehead.
He's with the Jets, yeah.
But they still have Donovan Smith and Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah, they'll be fine to tackle for sure.
Like the big thing is Chris Godwin's timeline on when he's back. Because then if you have Evans, Godwin, and Russell Gage, and then I'm assuming Gronk's going to come back.
Yeah, I would assume that Gronk will be
Their
back.
big thing now is, I think, Fournette.
Yeah, I mean, big piece for sure. Let's see. Other notable moves here. Khalil Mack trade. Bears trade Khalil Mack to the Chargers. That's a big one.
Yeah, now you got Bosa and Mack both coming at you.
Yep. And then obviously the the Raiders signing Chandler Jones. A big deal there.
I didn't see that. I did see they released Carl Nassib.
Yeah, they also traded Yannick Ngakoue to the Indianapolis Colts, I believe. The Falcons are meeting with Jarvis Landry. Zadarius Smith back to the Baltimore Ravens. He left the Ravens to go to Green Bay. 2 good seasons in Green Bay. People are saying, the Packers are going to be terrible without him. Did they watch the Packers this season? He played the first game and the last game, and they went 13-2 in between that. So, or 13-3, I guess, in between that. So they're fine there without Zadarius. Good player. Happy for him to get back in Baltimore, but Packers were not bringing him back no matter what. The contract was just too big. Julio Jones released. We'll see what happens with him.
I didn't see that either.
The Raiders releasing Nick Kwiatkowski, linebacker, former Bear, I believe.
Man, and where does Julio go?
I mean, not Green Bay, I'll tell you that. People are saying he should go to Green Bay so he can play with Rodgers. Not happening.
No, I feel like he's got to go to a contender. He's not going to go to Miami or somewhere.
Well, if Julio Jones went to Green Bay, the 3 games he would play there out of the entire season would be awesome for sure. Packers extended Devondre Campbell, all-pro inside linebacker last season, 5 years, $50 million. They're also trying to extend Rasul Douglas as well, cornerback breakout season.
Steelers signed Trubisky to a 2-year deal.
Yeah, love that deal. Steelers Super Bowl odds went from 55-1 to 70-1. That's BS. Trubisky's a stud.
The Bucks went from plus 2,800 to plus 700.
Yeah, I mean that's not surprising.
Tyrod Taylor signed to be the backup in New York for the Giants.
Let's see. Jeff Gladney, who had legal issues, I think he was a first-round pick by the Vikings, signed with Arizona. Cameron Brate restructured contract. Same with
the
Shaq
Browns
Barrett.
also released Hooper.
Yep, 1 year after making him the highest paid tight end in the league, gone. Marcus May to the Saints, safety. Marcus Williams, safety, former Saint, to the Ravens. The Chandler Jones deal is 3 years, $51 million with Vegas. It was Ngakoue to the Colts in a trade that includes Rock Yassin, the corner. So I like that deal for Vegas after they signed Chandler Jones.
That just makes the Colts defense look that much better.
Uchenna Nwosu, solid outside linebacker from the Chargers, going to Seattle, 2-year deal. Let me see here, a couple more that we can find that are important. The whole Randy Gregory thing where he had an agreement with Dallas. Dallas tried to change something at the last second. He said F off, went to Denver. Did the Patriots trade to Tampa? Shaq Mason, was it?
No, I don't know.
I think Shaq Mason got traded to Tampa.
Has J.C. Jackson went anywhere yet?
Yeah, Chargers, yeah. It was Shaq Mason, who's a very solid offensive lineman, to Tampa for a 5th-round pick.
Oh, that was the one who filled their vacant guard spot.
Yeah. So their line's perfectly intact again. And I think Marpet's better than Mason, but Mason's good.
Yeah, Marpet was also brought in as a center, though, and was moved to guard.
Yeah. All right. I think that's good on the NFL free agency. Certainly there'll be more to come, some more dominoes to fall for sure. Let's do the golf this week.
The Players' Championship last week. I mean, rough. They had, a day and a half rainouts?
Yeah, it didn't end until Monday. They finished 3rd round on Monday, and then the rest of it later that day as well.
Winner was Cameron Smith. Won $3.6 million. Shot 13 under. I mean,
Biggest win of his career.
I think the rain killed Tommy Fleetwood's momentum. He shot 6 under, and then didn't get a play for a day and a half.
There's always this week. That's who I picked later, so spoiler alert.
This week we had the Valspar Championship. Defending champion Sam Burns at the Innisbrook Resort Copperhead Course in Palm Harbor, Florida.
All right. Major League Baseball finally figured it out. The lockout is over. The deal is reached. I hate baseball, but now I like it again somewhat, so I'm back. We'll just go over the stupid terms of the deal that doesn't really affect anybody in the general public, but the CBT threshold, which is the collective bargaining tax, $230 million in 2023. It peaks at $244 in the final year of the CBA, it's a 5-year deal. This is a big part of it. The penalty tier, they introduced a new tier, starts at $60 million past the threshold, which is pretty much the Steve Cohen tax because he's worth $14 billion and he can do whatever he wants, the Mets owner. Minimum salary, $700,000, peaks at $780,000 the final year. I believe the minimum salary was like $600 or $550 or something before this. So they got that up. Pre-arbitration bonus pool, $50 million. Don't know what that means, but obviously the players got it higher. I think the owners were like 20 or 30 there for a little bit. Postseason format, 12 teams. And the final.
And I know like the MLB was trying to get us to 14, and the players union was the ones who were like totally against it and made it 12.
Yeah, I think 14, and the argument against it, I agree with the players, is that
you could you wouldn't have to pay to could have an 80-win season and make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with the players on that. First 6 teams will be determined via lottery in the draft now. I think that's a nice addition, even though I'd like to see it kind of be, let's see, you got 12 teams in the playoffs, 18 not making it. What about like 12 teams in the lottery? I don't know. Make it a little bit more exciting. Like the worst team that's going to get the number 1 pick is going to be like a 75-win team. It's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
It's more fun when you have a different one. Like the Pelicans getting Zion. I know it hasn't worked out, but Pelicans were expected to get the number 1 pick that night.
Hey, he's supposed to be coming back soon. What else? They made the
pitch clock?
Pitch clock
Yeah, I think a lot of those things are coming into effect 2023, like no shift in 2023. Last year, the shift is this year. You'll have
No
the extra
or DH for the NL.
DH is in the NL, so that is the universal DH is in place for this season and beyond. You also had the what the hell was I thinking of? The extra inning runner.
It's no longer.
It's not. It wasn't in the CBA, but they were talking about renegotiating it and maybe having it stick around. I don't know if that's going to happen. I kind of hope that it doesn't, but I also don't hate it, so I'm kind of indifferent on that whole rule. But
yeah, I mean, now that they're back to nine inning games, I don't maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
if they maybe put it in like if a game gets like the 11th to it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know. Let's do Major League Baseball.
But like I was talking to a buddy Thursday when we were talking about the whole DH and everything. I wish they would have got this done, or at least that part done earlier. So when you were able to sign people from the end of the offseason last year, like they would have known, like the NL teams would have known that they could have went after somebody just to be their DH.
I think they had an idea of it though. Like I think everybody's known for a while this is going to happen eventually.
Yeah, but I mean, then the lockout would happen where you couldn't talk to anybody and couldn't sign.
Yeah, that's true. Let's look at some signings and trades. Quick rundown of some notable signings. Andrew McCutchen to Milwaukee. Adam Ottavino to the Mets. Brad Hand to the Phillies. Nelson Cruz to Washington. That's a 1-year, $15 million deal for Cruz. Pretty much the biggest DH domino to go to the NL. Clayton Kershaw returning to the Dodgers. Joe Kelly to the White Sox. Carlos Rodon to the Giants. 2 years, $44 million. Lefty, if he can stay healthy, great signing. Andrelton Simmons to the Cubs. 1 year, $4 million. Former Cub Anthony Rizzo back to the Yankees. 2 years, $32 million. Kyle Schwarber, 4 years, $73 million with the Phillies. And then Seiya Suzuki, if that's how you pronounce his name. 5 years, $85 million. The next Ichiro because of his last name. So,
and then Carlos Martinez signed a minor league deal with the Giants, right?
I thought it was like $8 million. Might be a legit deal.
I think at first they came out and said it was a minor league deal, but
I don't know. Trades, the Reds have given up trying. They traded Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker, the Mariners for a couple guys and a couple prospects. The Braves traded Christian Pash, 3 prospects to Oakland for Matt Olson. Olson, 8-year, $168 million extension, meaning Freddie Freeman done in Atlanta. Yankees make a puzzling trade. Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela to the Twins for Josh Donaldson, who overpaid, washed up, I think would be 2 ways to describe him. Isaiah Kiner Falefa, ring a bell, huh? Shortstop, stud for the Rangers, allegedly. Okay, I messed up the name on that one. Ben Rortvert, catcher, going to the Yankees as well. Stud, I'm sure. Twins get Sonny Gray. Once again, Reds have given up trying. Reds also traded Amir Garrett to the Royals for Mike Minor and cash. I mean, I don't know what the Reds are doing. I think the Reds have decided to stop going after the other 3 teams in the division, and they decided to create a sick rivalry with the Pirates to see who loses more games. I think would probably be the idea there. The Mets get Chris Bassett from the A's for 2 minor league pitchers. And then the Blue Jays acquire Matt Chapman. The A's also given up trying.
Yeah, I was going to say the A's are doing the same thing.
Yeah. Olson, Bassett, Chapman. They're going to also trade Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea as well, 2 pitchers. So it's over for them. And that's embarrassing too because their owner is super rich. I know every owner is rich, but John Fisher, I think is his name, has a lot of money and is not trying. So that's embarrassing. All right, NHL real quick, couple trades. Avalanche, 2 trades. They trade for Ducks defenseman Josh Manson, and they made a swap in their division with Minnesota. Tyson Jost to the Wild, Nico Sturm to the Avalanche. Not any. I don't really think there's any significance for Colorado. I mean, they're going to keep going after guys. Claude Giroux, a guy they could get. Other defensemen, Jacob Chychrun, I doubt it. They're the best team in the league.
I saw an article about the Bruins should try getting Chara back for the playoff run.
The Islanders suck, so why not, right?
Yeah, but then it's like, what are you giving for him?
an 8th round pick, which doesn't exist because he has no trade value at all, I think would probably be the pick he give up.
I mean, that would have to be like a DeBrusque for Chara and a prospect or something.
I wouldn't trade DeBrusque for Chara.
No, that's what I'm just like. You'd have to be getting a lot from the Islanders.
I would trade DeBrusque for Chara and like a 2nd and a 3rd because the trade value there is completely different.
Yeah.
I don't think DeBrusque is a Barry Trotz guy. I don't think he's like a Brock Nelson or a Josh Bailey. I don't think he's that type of guy. I don't think they would want him. I don't know. All right, what are we doing now?
College hoops.
Might as well throw them on, huh? All right, I'm putting them on. Special guest.
Special guest. Co-host of the Illini Basketball Podcast, Mr. Tyler Bramley.
I didn't sleep through this one, guys. Look at me. Thanks for having me on.
All right, what are we doing first? Field of 68, your thoughts on all 68 teams. Go.
Well, I mean, any teams that you thought should have been in that didn't get in?
Other
Other than Texas A&M?
I don't think
Texas A&M shouldn't have been
in.
That's the thing. You can't lose a billion games in a row in the SEC and think you're going to get in. And you also can't no-show against Tennessee.
Just because you made it to the SEC championship?
I think the committee showed that they do not care about Saturday or Sunday.
I don't think they care about the tournament at all, personally.
Yeah, honestly. I mean,
from what this turned out to be.
Iowa won the Big Ten tournament. They get a 5 seed. They probably should have been a 4. Tennessee wins the SEC tournament. They get a 3. They should have been a 2. And Duke loses the ACC championship. They get a 2. They should have been a 3. So
yeah, and I mean, even if you look farther down, I mean, Yale as a 14 over Delaware, I assume that spot was just slated for Princeton, right? I mean, that's what they were going with, and they're like, oh, Princeton didn't win, let's just throw Yale in there. So
yeah, I think Yale's a 15 for sure.
Yeah.
There's a 16 seed that shouldn't be a 16 seed. I think it's probably Georgia State.
I think my biggest gripe would probably be Indiana in a play-in game and Michigan in the tournament at all. But
who are you going to put in over Michigan out of anybody that didn't make it?
Whoever was the next one.
Dayton. I don't think you can reward Dayton.
Put Dayton in.
That's tough. I don't know.
There's several that Notre Dame is number 2 in the ACC, and then they get the play-in game.
Well,
I'm not saying that they should the play-in game.
Notre Dame was lucky they got in, even though they got second.
Yeah, I would.
The ACC's weak, Dookie. Calm down.
Hey, I understand that, but I just don't like some of the matchups they put in the playing games. Like, I think those should be like the 8 or 9s.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a fight for, or there's a lot of people that say, the 16 seeds, they won their conference, they shouldn't have to play in a play-in game. But I guess the argument to that is, at least they have a chance to win. You get money for winning.
Yeah.
So at least they have a chance to win a game.
My just like the matchup, the Rutgers Notre Dame one. You have number 2 in one conference, and the number 4 is that what Rutgers was? 4.
Yeah.
And they're playing game together.
Yeah.
The metrics for both of those teams are bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the overall body of work. I mean, if Rutgers doesn't have the amazing week they had, or 2 weeks it was, where they won 4 against, 4 ranked teams, they probably don't get in. But Indiana, you could say that they should have, maybe because they beat who they beat the first game. Michigan, and then they beat Illinois. Probably shouldn't have been in the playing game over Michigan. But as far as the other ones, I don't hate them. I mean, I don't think Michigan should have been not in a playing game, honestly.
I don't think there should have been 3 West Coast Conference teams.
There was a fight for 4. So
yeah, I mean, if Santa Clara doesn't have an early season struggle, or if they didn't kind of fall apart down the stretch, or if BYU was actually as good as they were supposed to be, there would have been 4. Yeah. San Francisco deserved to be in, I think.
Absolutely.
Their metrics are way too good to not be in. And also, the other thing that I'm happy about is Xavier not getting rewarded for what they did. Xavier lost a billion games in the season, and then they lose to Butler in their first Big East tournament game, and now Travis Steele's gone. So Sean Miller, welcome back. Wins in the NIT last night. See you
later.
Sean Miller back to Xavier. You heard it here first.
Yeah, and me and Ethan talked about it a little bit on the NCAA one. Having Murray State play San Francisco is an abomination to any mid-major that gets in the tournament.
Yep. So I mean, you can't put Miami against like Murray State.
Right.
Stupid. And they knew what they were doing. The other thing with the committee with the Michigan thing is they love strength of schedule. Like Michigan's strength of schedule is really, really good.
Yep.
That's a huge reason why they're not in a playing game.
Yeah. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, that strength of schedule doesn't matter when you lose 14 of those games.
It's a fair point. and especially the fact that they came out in their first game of the Big Ten tournament and blew a 17-point lead.
Yeah.
They got rewarded.
I like Ohio State as a 7 seed just because how up and down they were. They beat Duke. They beat Duke in the ACC Big Ten tournament, and then lost like the next 2 games. Won a couple, lost a couple.
Yeah. Beat Illinois and then went on a terrible, terrible run.
So I mean, really, they could have been even lower than a 7.
Illinois likes to suck the life out of teams.
Ohio State was trending towards like a possible 4 after they beat Illinois. So the fact that they ended the season the way they did was pretty bad.
That's what I'm saying. They could have been lower than a 7 seed.
I mean, I think that there's not really an argument for any. I don't think there's an argument for any 8 seed to be a 7 over them, though. Maybe North Carolina, but probably not. Yeah, I don't know. What else are we talking about? The first 4 games? I mean,
we had 2 last night, which was the Wyoming-Indiana game.
Yep. Wyoming, brutal.
Yeah, you talk about just.
And the fact that Indiana didn't win by 40.
Yeah,
with a team when a point guard has 10 turnovers by himself and a team barely escapes, it's got to make you think. I mean, I think a lot of people were picking St. Mary's to be that 5-12 upset. I think a lot of people might reevaluate that.
There's one thing that has to happen for St. Mary's to win that game, and that is Matthias Toss to slow TJD down. You slow TJD down, you're probably going to beat them. They made 2 threes last night. Wyoming turned the ball over 19 times. They bobbled about 70 rebounds. Yeah. Wyoming played as bad as you could play, and it wasn't a good start for the Mountain West.
Who was the other playing last night?
Texas Southern beat Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
Which is the much, much worse edition of the 16 versus 16. Tonight should be way better because tonight you have nation's leading scorer. Yep, Peter Kiss, the biggest showboater in the sport. And then you have, Wright State and Bryan have the 2 highest scoring duos in the country. So makes it a little bit more intriguing than last night. Which is
the second game is what, the Rutgers Notre Dame game?
Yeah. Which I think Rutgers kills them, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. I think Ethan has Rutgers by 18 in that game.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, like the AC standings, like the week before the tournament, I'm like, wait, how are they the second best team in this conference? Because like when they've had that game against Duke, and they only scored like 40 points or whatever, and like 15 in the first half. I'm like, how did any other team get beat by this team?
Yeah.
Well, they beat every bad team in the conference, and they beat Miami. So that's kind of how they went 15-5. They lost to Duke, they lost to Virginia Tech, they lost to Wake Forest, they lost to Florida State, and then they beat.
And by every bad team, you mean everybody but Duke?
I mean, I don't think North Carolina and Virginia Tech are bad.
Yeah,
I think they're I think it's Duke in their own tier, and then I think it's North Carolina, Virginia Tech,
and Florida State fell off. Like they were
Florida
hot.
State's bad.
Yeah.
Louisville's a disaster. I don't think Miami's that good.
What do you expect from LSU? I mean,
that's a $1 million question.
Your head coach is gone.
I got them getting beat first round in the bracket I did. So
I have them in our picks later. I have Iowa State winning that game.
Yeah. I think Iowa State sucks, so I don't think that's going to happen. I think Tari Eason is going to absolutely dominate the game for LSU, and I think that LSU has enough guys to make a run. Remember,
do you think they have the play for my coach mentality
I don't know. He was suspended a few years ago when they made a bit of a run.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't think that it's that big of a factor. I think that they win their first game at least. This is a team that's been very inconsistent. They started out great. They were 12-0 early. They lost to Auburn, beat Kentucky, beat Tennessee. I don't think that they'll have too many issues in terms of winning their first game. They made it to the Sweet 16 when he was suspended the last time. So I don't think that's that. But it is, like I said, the most unpredictable game in the first round is that game. Because Iowa State, are they good? I don't think they are, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I mean, I think they were good to start the season. Everybody was really high on them, and then they fell off the map.
They played Iowa about as well as anybody.
Yeah.
They suffocated Iowa. Rutgers and Iowa State held Iowa in check. Those are like the only two teams that did that.
Right.
So I don't know, but I can't think of any other first round things. I mean,
the Texas Virginia Tech matchup is weird to me.
I start to love Texas in that game.
I think Texas is a 1-point favorite in that.
I think Texas is a 10 seed disguised as a 6 seed. I think, but I also think they're going to win.
But you also think they're going to win
because everybody thinks they're going to lose.
Yeah.
And historically, teams that win their conference championship, especially of Virginia Tech, who's a double-digit seed, not great.
I mean, couldn't you have that mentality with every upset pick that everybody's picking, though?
Yes.
Everybody thinks they're going to lose, so they're going to win. I guess the kind of the biggest storyline that came out today was Devontae Jones being out for Michigan. How does Michigan handle that? I think a lot of people were picking Michigan over Colorado State. Do you still feel like Michigan can beat Colorado State without him? I mean, their guard play's not good, and they're losing, I'd say, their best guard.
Makes it harder. I mean, this game, I said a couple days ago, this game's all about Dickinson, though.
Yeah.
Because they're playing David Roddy at the 5. I think Michigan still wins. I think Eli Brooks is.
Yeah, but can Dickinson score 75? I
think Caleb Houston will do some things. I think he'll make some threes. I think Eli Brooks will maybe start to see some shots fall. Played well for them in the tournament last year.
I mean, Michigan's record when Houston makes 3 threes is like 14-2 or something. So I guess
a big example of that is they went into Indiana and won, and he had a huge game.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know. Let me see how many games they lost where he made 3 threes. So he had 3 against Indiana in the Big Ten tournament they lost.
Right. And that was one of them. I think they were like 13-1 before that. I don't know. I think Rothstein always puts that out.
I think that's the only game they lost where he had three threes because he only had 2 against Illinois, but he was 2 for 3. So
yeah,
it's a big key. I mean, the Mountain West scares me now because of what Wyoming did last night. And I know what the problem that Wyoming had is Hunter Maldonado just isoing on every single possession and then turning it over or missing killed them. He's a good player, but
yeah,
jeez, terrible. And then the ref started to foul out like every Wyoming player. So, I don't know. I don't think Indiana's that good.
I don't either.
I don't think the Big Ten is that good. This is the worst 9-bid league of all time.
I think if Geronimo doesn't have the game he had last night, that Indiana probably doesn't win that, and that would have been a terrible loss with the way Wyoming played.
Yeah, I mean, Wyoming played their worst game of the year. They were in it until like the very end.
Right.
So what else should we discuss?
Who do you like? Let's just go. Who do you have getting to the Sweet 16? Starting the West.
My Sweet 16, Gonzaga. Obviously, I'll let you guys know now. I don't know if I'm going to be back on this. I have Gonzaga winning it all in every bracket I've filled out. So I think it's their year. I think Mark Few deserves one, and I think this is probably the best team he's had in a while. Not in a while. That was a dumb statement, but that will be able to get it done. More all-around team. So I got Gonzaga. I got Vermont, which is a huge upset everybody's picking. So Ethan's probably got Arkansas winning that game. And then I got Texas Tech and Duke. So 113-32.
I mean, I love the Must Bus dearly. I'm very proud to be a part of the Must Bus crew, which I thought you were.
I love the Must Bus. I liked him better when he was in a sling, though. Bring the sling back.
I think that they win that game. I think that the Must Bus wins that game. I would take Gonzaga in there. Obviously, I like UConn a lot.
Yep.
I like Texas Tech. I like Duke out of the West. So that would be my 3 or my 4 from that. That
Mine
region.
would be Gonzaga, Duke, and then the only iffy game I have is the Connecticut Arkansas game. I would probably take Arkansas, and then I'm putting Alabama in there. Just how up and down they play. Like, you don't know what team you're getting out of them.
True.
And if they play to what they can play like, I think they can get to there.
Yeah. And if they don't, they get beat by Notre Dame.
I don't think they've played like that against a good team all season except for the Gonzaga game.
Yeah, very true.
So that's a bit of a problem that you can't trust them. Do we go to the East now? Bottom left?
Yeah.
Sure. I got Baylor. I'm all chalk here. Baylor, UCLA, Purdue, Kentucky.
My official bracket has that too, but I will say North Carolina. Wouldn't be surprised if they
North
beat
Carolina
Baylor.
yesterday.
That was off
Monday.
the cuff. That was off the cuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Purdue or Kentucky should have any trouble getting there. I think Baylor I'm most concerned about. UCLA, I just after making that run last year, I don't trust them as much for some reason.
I feel like this is the easiest bracket for the higher seeds. I mean, just looking at matchups and stuff like that, I feel like this has the best chance to be chalk.
Yeah, I do like that Murray State Kentucky matchup.
Well, San Francisco might have something to say about that.
I know.
True.
I mean, Murray State has the last loss was December 22nd to Auburn.
Yeah.
True.
So I mean, I would have
Khalil Shabazz. I mean, San Francisco
I would have
got some guys.
I would have North Carolina, UCLA, Purdue, and Kentucky.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if Marquette beat North Carolina.
Your ACC bias is showing.
Oh, that's just one pick.
Marquette has
don't think
two guys that you got to stop.
I just don't think. I mean, I don't think Baylor's as good with. As
They're not. And LJ Cryer's out too.
Right.
LJ Cryer's their best scorer, and he's out. And Chamwa Chacha was already out. Baylor is clearly a vulnerable one. So we're going to see Scott Drew's chops this season because they do not have a very good. Like they got a Kim Jo, So Chan. So it's a concern. All right, South region.
Yeah, my Big Ten bias is going to show right here. I got Arizona, Illinois, Tennessee, and Ohio State. OSU, they might have been on a downward spiral, but they're going to have Zed Key back, I think. Kyle Young, I think, and I think that they're going to be a scary 7 seed.
My anti-Big Ten-ness is showing here. I have Arizona, Houston, Tennessee, Villanova. So 1, 2, 3,
You
5.
got Villanova in the championship game still.
Yep.
Attaboy.
Love those guys. So tough.
My daughter who doesn't watch college basketball picked them too. So good work.
Good. It's a genius pick. They're winners.
I have Arizona, Houston, Tennessee, and Ohio State.
Nice.
I don't see Ohio State getting past Villanova. I think Villanova is so much better than Ohio State because let me just point this out. Who the hell does Ohio State have that's going to do anything against Colin Gillespie? And they have the defenders to guard Liddell and Branham. Justin Moore, Jermaine Samuels, Brandon Slater. They have the length and the bodies to defend those two guys. That's all you got to do against them.
Yeah, but the last 4 games I've watched of Villanova, Gillespie has played so passive.
He turns it up in March. He knows what it is. I mean,
it's
Villanova.
You're banking on him just turning it up now.
They have the best NCAA tournament coach the last 6 years. It's Jay Wright.
You're not wrong.
They have winners. They have a point guard who's won a national championship.
But Ethan, what about their depth?
I'm not concerned about their depth anymore.
All year.
They should. If they won the Big East tournament, I had to lay off with the depth thing with them. And I think they're a team that gets better. I think Ohio State Villanova is such a bad matchup for Ohio State. I could be wrong because I thought that like Ohio State versus other teams have been a bad matchup for the other team, and it's just the other way around. But Villanova, so tough. I will trust Jay Wright. All right, Midwest.
I got Kansas, Iowa State, and Auburn. Wisconsin goes down to Iowa State.
So I've kind of changed course on this one. Iowa's been a very popular.
You're putting
Final
Wisconsin
Four
in there, aren't you?
Nope.
No, you are.
Nope.
What?
More anti-Big Ten this year.
LSU, aren't you?
This bracket that I have right in front of me has one Big Ten team in the Sweet 16.
Well, I mean, that's fair enough. They haven't really shown up. So
Kansas, South Dakota State. That's right. Yeah. How many times has Fran McCaffrey sniffed a Sweet 16?
How many? Hey, answer me this. How many brackets is Providence just going to bust the crap out of because they make a run? Because nobody's picking them. Nobody.
South Dakota State is like, they're going to win. Like, I'm so confident in that, but maybe not. I don't know. But LSU and Auburn. So SEC matchup there. LSU beats Wisconsin. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I have Kansas, Iowa, Wisconsin, Auburn.
Chalk. Well, I guess technically Iowa's
not,
which is ridiculous.
Which is ridiculous. Yes.
Providence being a 4, I don't care that they won the Big East regular season. They played less games. That's ridiculous. What should we do now? Final 4 national champions?
Well, we don't even have to because next week will be.
Yeah, but you just want to throw them out there pre-bracket, pre the game starting. I mean, okay, Tyler, who's your national champion?
Gonzaga. I already said it.
Okay, who are they beating in the national championship?
Tennessee.
And then Tennessee beats
Kansas.
Kansas, okay.
Who do you have Gonzaga playing in the Elite Eight?
Kentucky. Gonzaga playing the Elite Eight, Texas Tech.
So you have Texas Tech beating Duke.
Because
I do too, yeah.
Because duck the Fookies or whatever it is.
Here's my Final 4. Texas Tech, Kentucky, Villanova, Auburn. Kentucky beats Villanova. So Gonzaga, go screw, not in the Final 4. Nice try.
All over Villanova.
Mark Few's going to retire, and then they're going to hire Tommy Lloyd. So
I hope so, because Arizona's getting way too many good players. They got 2 top 30s coming in next year.
Well, shout out to Sean Miller. He did the dirty work, so to speak, and Tommy Lloyd doing the other stuff. Here's the games tomorrow.
I got Purdue and Arizona in the final.
Okay, this is the last thing I want to do on this.
Who you got winning it?
Purdue.
I hope that doesn't happen. All right.
Also a pick that my daughter that doesn't watch college basketball picked. So. You guys are 2 for 2.
Well, who's more trustworthy?
She had what? Purdue versus Villanova.
She has Purdue Nova in the championship.
And Nova winning or Purdue winning?
Purdue winning.
Oh boy. Villanova's tougher and better. So
I have Arkansas.
Oh, they got like 8 guys that can handle Edie. Is that what you're going to tell me now too?
I don't care about that. Jay Wright will game plan for that. The key in that game, the key to beating Purdue is shutting down Stefanovic, and Stefanovic won't be able to walk when he faces Colin Gillespie.
True.
So nice try there.
That was a good one.
So the best window tomorrow, is it the first window, second window, third window, or fourth window? And I don't really want to name all of them because that'll take forever. But
so how are we supposed to tell you?
What's the best window?
First window. I think that Colorado State Michigan game to start off is great. I think Providence is going to bust everybody's bracket in that second game. And then I'd like to see Imani Bates playing, with Memphis
to lose, yeah.
Yeah, and then the most vulnerable 1 seed playing a 16. Could we see it history happen again?
Hammer the Broncos.
That's my choice.
Yeah, I would say the last one's pretty good. San Francisco, Murray State, Vermont, Arkansas. Akron, the return of John Gross.
Yeah, so that's going to be a 40-point game. Can't wait to watch that one.
Friday, the clear-cut best window, in my view, is probably the second one, I would say, because you'll have Rutgers or Notre Dame versus Bama. USC, Miami's a hard one to pick, and then Virginia Tech, Texas. I think they made it to where the windows kind of suck. Like, I think there's like the third one, like Arizona's going to kill whoever they play. Duke's going to kill Cal State Fullerton. I guess Illinois, Chattanooga, LSU, Iowa State are tough, but I don't know. I have Chattanooga beating Illinois, so
maybe they just kind of made the window so you don't got to switch.
What'd you just say?
That bracket that I did, I had Chattanooga.
Okay, Because yesterday you had Illinois winning.
No, I think Illinois wins, but the bracket that I list, I have 4 brackets there, based on different numbers and analytics and such. Also have my team binders down here too for all the
analytics,
all the numbers. Yes, the metrics. What are we supposed to do now?
Our picks.
I don't know. Yeah, do college basketball so I can get out of here.
All right,
First.
college basketball.
Who you got tomorrow? 4 games.
I don't even know who's playing tomorrow. Give me Colorado State. Is this with or without spreads?
Without. Just pick 'em.
Oh, just pick 'em. Okay. Hold on. I got to see who else is playing.
I'll go with mine.
I wasn't ready. Go ahead if you're ready. Go ahead.
I took Colorado State over Michigan.
Okay.
Memphis over Boise State. UNC over Marquette. And Indiana over St. Mary's.
Chris Bryant just signed with the Rockies, by the way.
Really?
Which is hilarious. Like, what is he doing? Chris, you're better than this.
Does he know Trevor Story's gone?
All right. Can you say yours again so I don't pick the same ones?
Oh, you can pick the same ones. I took Colorado State, so I mean, you already said you were taking that one.
Yep.
I took Memphis over Boise.
Okay.
UNC over Marquette, and Indiana over St. Mary's.
Okay. I'm gonna take the one that everybody's picking: Vermont over Arkansas. Give me San Diego State over Creighton. And my last one, give me the Spiders over Iowa. The Big Ten hangover.
That seems a little excessive. Yeah, Boise State's beating Memphis. UConn's beating New Mexico State, no doubt. Lock it down. Murray State beats San Francisco. And I'm going to say that Creighton beats San Diego State.
All right. So Friday, I have Miami over USC, Iowa State over LSU, Michigan State over Davidson, and TCU over Seton Hall.
All right. Give me the Flying Illini 2.0. They are now an 8-point favorite. And I'll give the 8 up. That's fine. I don't care. They're going to win by 10. Give me UAB over Houston because nobody's picking that one. And then I will take I'll take the Horned Frogs over Seton Hall, and then give me Colgate over Wisconsin. Boom.
You hate the Big Ten.
I hate them and love them all at the same time. Like, did I want to see Indiana go down yesterday? Yes. Am I happy that the Big Ten won a tournament game? Yes. So
I hope Rutgers gets to the Final Four if any Big Ten team does. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I agree. Give us yours so I can get out of here before I get yelled at.
Whose turn is it? Mine? All right.
Yep.
Texas, Virginia Tech. Texas wins. Nice try. Seton Hall beats TCU. UAB beats Houston. LSU beats Iowa State. Don't care that I just said Houston. That Sweet 16 doesn't count.
He picked the wrong bracket, folks.
Yeah.
He
looking at
picked
the women's side.
Yep.
All right, fellas. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
See you next week.
Possibly. We'll see what the schedule's like. So hit me up.
All
I'll
right.
let you know. Later, fellas. Thanks.
We'll see you.
Yep. See you.
See ya.
All right. So we have the I'm trying to edit something here.
NBA for tonight.
Yeah, you can go ahead with your NBA and NHL. I'm trying to edit something.
I got the Thunder plus 13.5 over the Spurs and the Clippers -1 over the Raptors. And then hockey for tomorrow, I have the Rangers -140 over the Islanders and the Blues -110 over the Penguins.
All right. I like that. I'm taking the Rangers -140 over the Islanders. And then I'm taking the Red Wings +165 at the Canucks. And then NBA tonight, Warriors -2 home against the Celtics. And then I will take Bucks -8 against the Kings with that. So let's go to the Gulf.
To win, I have Victor Hovland at +900, Louis at +1,600, and Tommy Fleetwood at +5,500.
My winners are Sam Burns plus 1,800, Abraham Answer plus 3,500, Tommy Fleetwood plus 5,500.
My top fives are boy Evan Kisner at plus 1,400.
Friend of the
And
show.
top 10 is Colin Morikawa at plus 170.
All right, I have Morikawa plus 350 top 5, Koepka plus 330 top 10, and that'll do it.
I was 5-1 last week. I'm now 370 and 298.
I was 3-2. I'm 366 and 295. So, all right, that'll do it for us. We'll be back next week. Lots more college hoops to cover, other sports happenings, I suppose, as well. And we'll see you next week for number 56.